Despite his comments about kicking butt earlier in the week, some critics say he hasn't done enough. And one of those critics is Senator George LeMieux, Republican from Florida. Senator, welcome.
Thanks for having me on.
You really have said a number of occasions that the president is just doing too many photo ops, but he is going back next week, including to your home state of Florida. What do you think he's not doing that he should?
Well, I want to see the president on the ground, not just for a couple of hours, but I want to see him leading, working through problems. You know, it's not Thad Allen who should be doing all of this. In my mind, a lot of it should be done by the President of the United States. I have a lot of respect for Thad Allen, but let's have the President of the United States running these meetings with British Petroleum. He said the other day when he wanted to kick butt that he's never talked to Tony Hayward at BP. That's the guy whose butt you would be presumably kicking. So we've had a lot of experiences in Florida with disasters, whether they be hurricanes or others. And our governors, like Governor Bush and now Governor Christ, have been on the ground working through problems. And I want to see that from the President of the United States. I'm glad he's coming on Monday, but I hope it's not just for a photo op.
Well, he's going to be in the Gulf for a couple of days. But I wonder, to be fair, Senator, if this is kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I mean, if he's in the Gulf, critics say he's ignoring other issues like the economy or just doing photo ops while he's there. If he's not there, they say he's not showing enough emotion, he's heartless, he's not staying on top of things. So, I mean, can he do everything? Can he please everybody?
Well, he can't, and President of the United States is a very hard job, but it's the job he wanted. And part of being President of the United States is when you have a crisis, and this is a crisis, and there's no bigger crisis in the country right now than this economic and environmental disaster in the Gulf of Mexico. He's got to be on the job. And there's no one like the President of the United States to push people to find solutions. When people tell you no, it can't be done, to say, well, find a way to make it happen, overcome obstacles. No one can do that like the President of the United States, the Chief Executive Officer of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the military. And I want to see him engaged. I spoke to him about it this week. I said, come to Florida. I'm glad he's coming to Florida, but I hope it's not just a drive-through.
Well, also, to be fair, is your suggestion, Senator, that he has to be in Florida to get things done for Florida? I mean, you're in Washington, and presumably you're able to work for your constituents who are feeling the effects of this from where you are. You don't have to physically be in the state.
Well, 2 points on that. One is I'll be in Florida tonight and tomorrow, and I will be in Pensacola, and I will be pushing for answers. But the second thing is, you know, when you're the executive, it's different than being in the legislative branch. And I've worked for governors, and I've worked for other executives, and it makes a big difference. And he is the President of the United States. And when he gets in a room and tells people who report to him directly, remember Secretary Salazar and Secretary Napolitano and Administrator Lubchenco, they don't work for me, they work for him. And if he gets those folks in a room and he pushes Thad Allen and pushes BP in a way that only the President of the United States can, maybe we'll have some better solutions. Today we found out that oil is getting into Pensacola Bay. Now, it's one thing to have oil washing on our shores, which is almost impossible to completely prevent, even with all the booming and skimming, and I'd like to see more of that too. But getting oil into the bay in Pensacola should have been preventable. And the fact that there's now oil in the bay in Pensacola is a failure, and it's a failure of this administration. And if they were more engaged, maybe it wouldn't have happened.
Senator George LeMieux of Florida, thanks very much for your time. Safe travels back to your state.
Thanks for having me on.
Reports of the demise of